On the spot news media, we got the latest news. We don't care about the views, we just representing right. Put local news internationally every night. On the spot, wave that Jamaican flag from left to right. Let's get it right, y'all know the type. We ain't dealing with the hype. We make it take flight.
Yeah, man, my viewers and subscribers, what go on. A blessed and wonderful Thursday morning to each and every person out there tuning into On The Spot News Media. No, my peeps, I don't know how we do it over on this side each and every morning. We have to give thanks and praise to the Most High Creator for the preservation of life, because life is indeed the greatest. So in the morning, my peeps, I have a few stories to share with you, the regular members of Chan Public and also members of the diaspora. So please like the video, share the video, watch the entire vlog so you can get a full understanding and a better appreciation of everything we are going in Jamaica. So in the morning, my peeps, we're going to kick it off with a birthday greeting. Yeah, man. We are give a birthday shout out to MD, aka M1 Dan. So MD is her initials, but her alias is M1 Dan. Not in the negative connotation as some of us minds may think. This female here, my peeps, is a true definition of what it means to be a decent, law-abiding citizen of our great nation. Her contribution to the nation is impeccable. Even though she hails from a community that I often describe as a troubled, war-torn, crime-riddled community, she did not allow her community to define her. She has risen above all expectations and continue to blossom and shine in her light in the lives of many. So happy birthday to you, MD. Blessings, M1 Dan. Yeah, man. So in the morning, my peeps, we're going to kick it off with an updated story. An update coming out of the troubled, war-torn, crime-riddled Kingston Central Police Division, where members within the ranks of the Jamaica Labour Party now condemns the knockings and clappings incident in Central Kingston. So the Jamaica Labour Party is strongly condemning the knockings and clappings in Central Kingston constituency on Tuesday evening, as cans were fired in the vicinity of Member of Parliament Donovan Williams and his team while they were erecting campaign signs at the corner of Lower South Camp Road and Tower Street. Now, reports suggest that armed criminal elements emerged from a vehicle and opened gunfire. No injuries were reported, however. A campaign vehicle and a billboard bearing the image of the MP and the Prime Minister were reportedly damaged by bullets. Now, this is the picture of both. So now, the JLP Campaign Committee Chairman, that's Dr. Christopher Tufton, says MP Williams' security detail were able to repel the gun attack. Dr. Tufton says that the JLP believes in freedom of expression and have fought hard to protect Jamaica's democracy. So we're going to hear from Dr. Christopher Tufton as he weighs in on this latest development. Now listen.
Jamaica Labour Party strongly condemns the shooting incident which took place in Central Kingston involving our Member of Parliament and prospective candidate for the next general elections, Mr. Donovan Williams. We are happy to note that no one was hurt, but it could have been so much worse. We condemn any and every act of intimidation or violence in this upcoming season, where we expect general elections to be called soon. We call on the police to move swiftly in their investigation and hope that the perpetrators will be brought to an appropriate justice. In the meantime, we will continue to provide guidance and maturity on the ground, urging our supporters to be faithful to the principles of democracy and freedom of choice without any acts of intimidation or violence.
Now I'm going to give my input as it relates to what took place in the Kingston Central Police Division. I, for one, think that Jamaica has stepped away from political violence. Not saying that it is non-existent, but from a party-to-party basis, from the hierarchy of the party, I don't think that is happening anymore. In my view, what may have happened is that persons within the ranks of either political party, the little small man them, probably a try to push something as it relates to political violence. I don't think it is coming from like the general party itself. I doubt it. It's just some little small man where no have no say, no have no name, just a take up things by them own self and I try to push political violence. I doubt it have anything to do with our country's political leaders at the helm of these political parties. And secondly, it just may be a coincidence where a criminal element is seen who is a rival to the perpetrators of the crime and them just take the opportunity to clap some can upon them, hoping that them could catch them. Because I honestly don't think that Jamaica is still at a point where political violence is a thing. It is just my view, not facts, but just my view of how I think it may have unfolded. Now the next thing that we are going to talk about will give some sort of clarity to many who is wondering what really are going on in Jamaica as it relates to the increase in police fatal knockings and clappings. Now, in a press release from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, it clearly states that the police are now relentlessly pursuing 212 suspected criminal elements, trigger men, each linked to no less than 3 fatal knockings and clappings. The Jamaica Constabulary Force also stated that they're also pursuing 127 active criminal gangs based right across the length and breadth of Jamaica. Now this is just telling us what many of us already saw, that the police are directly going after these violence producers. And what do you think are going to happen when the police them target and go after these noted and reputed criminal elements? On the field, so them have those assault rifles for just put on in them house as figurines. Or on the field, so them have them big fat matic there in them waist or in them back pocket or front pocket just for style. Them are gonna knock it and clap it on the squad of them all the while. Yeah, man. So that's why the squad of them have to retaliate and take evasive action as them state and make boy face spread out on the soil. Yeah, man. Now the police stated that intelligence has pointed to 212 individuals across the island that have committed at least 3 fatal knockings and clappings. The force stated that their intelligence are actively pursuing these cases with the ultimate goal of bringing them to justice. And justice don't necessarily mean going before the courts. It can also mean going to the morgue. And this came from the Deputy Commissioner of Police in charge of the JCF Crime and Security Portfolio. We are talking about Deputy Commissioner of Police Richard Stewart. Additionally, he states that intelligence also have identified 127 active criminal gangs across the island which require constant attention as they work to disrupt, degrade, and dismantle their operations. So this just goes to show the relentless pursuit of these police officers to capture or take out these criminal elements depending on the circumstances that they're faced with. So my peeps, let us all hop on board and support our security forces. Our police and soldiers needs us to help them in advancing the welfare of our great nation. Now, yesterday marks our 63rd independence celebration, and it warmed my heart to see the camaraderie of Jamaicans. It gave me reminders of a lot of our past, things like which is presently on your screen. Remember, no man? And for those who are too young to even understand what is it that I'm showing you, have a little sit down, have a talk with your grandparents, have a talk with your parents, have a talk with your great-grandparents if they're still around. And they will enlighten you on some of these things that I'm presently showing. I just wish that us as Jamaicans could bask in this same moment that I saw yesterday, forever and ever. Amen. I saw the Grand Gala, and may I tell you, the Grand Gala was breathtaking, might I add. The fireworks, magnificent. The performances from the likes of Kevin Downswell, the likes of Christopher Martin, the likes of Capleton, and of course my favorite performer, Beresford Hammond, among many others. The many displays from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, Jamaica Defence Force, the Correctional Services, our children. May I tell you, my peeps, it was such a beautiful day of celebration. So Jamaicans, please, yard and abroad, let us embrace our culture some more. Let us love each other some more. And let us bask in the said moment that we enjoyed yesterday. I also saw in yesterday's vlog, I read through the comment section, and I saw where Jamaicans all over the world pitched in and left a comment as to where they were watching On The Spot News Media all over the world. And I was surprised to see that people from all over, Jamaicans is all over, not just in the Caribbean, not just in the US, not just in Canada, not just in the United Kingdom, but as far as Burkina Faso, as far as the Cameroons, a lot of African countries or Jamaican nationals are there, tuning into On The Spot News Media and cheering us on as a people, as a nation. They have not lost their connection to us. They are just in a different country, but they remain Jamaicans nonetheless. So Jamaicans, yard and abroad, and I'm specifically speaking to the ones that are within the nation, Jamaica. Persons who is still living on the rock. Everybody else in the world love we. And we alone no love each other. Let us all try our utmost best to change that. So anyway, we can move right on into the next story. Now the next thing that we're going to talk about, my peeps, a Mason allegedly use a sharp instrument for plunge it into the body of a next man after being denied some food. Really senseless type of acts of violence, my peeps. Really senseless. So lawmen assigned to the St. Andrew South Police Division have charged a man with wounding with intent following an incident on the Dilpath Crescent community in Kingston 11 on July 30. Now charged is 50-year-old Horace Campbell, but them call him Cutter in the streets, said to be a mason who come from around a Balcom Drive in Kingston 11. Now reports from the Olympic Gardens police would suggest that sometime around 2:10 a.m. it is stated that the 50-year-old Horace Campbell went to a setup, or a night as we may call it, and asked for some food. When his demands were not met satisfactorily, he became boisterous and used scissors to inflict multiple wounds to a man. The police was summoned and the man was assisted to the hospital where he was admitted in serious condition. The 50-year-old Horace Campbell was apprehended and subsequently charged. His court date is presently being finalized. Now instead of you a look for come from prison at age 50, you look for go to prison. Make it make sense. Boy, me I tell you my peeps. The thing rough. Now the last thing that we're going to talk about, my peeps, and also the main story. We're going to talk about a fatal knockings and clappings that took place along the Green Island main road at a little jerk center, right? I want like a stall there, so. It go on last week, Tuesday evening. Now the person who was on the receiving end, sadly so, of those fatal bullets, is presently on your screen, and she has since been identified as Teresa Bailey. She was attacked and conned up at her stall along the Green Island main road by a criminal element. Now, the criminal element in question was taken out by the police on Thursday morning during an alleged confrontation with them in the Grangel section of the parish on Thursday, as I stated earlier. Now, the criminal element in question is presently on your screen, identified as Joseph Fyffe, said to be a farmer from Grangel in Westmoreland, and he is the criminal element that carried out that contract knockings and clappings on the now deceased Teresa Bailey. Now one would wonder why he did just that. Whole heap of things to this story. Whole heap of things. Now it is stated that he was supposed to take out a businessman and the businessman common law spouse. But because they were not at the business establishment at the time, Teresa Bailey, who is related to the female, got all the can what them should have get. Because so the contract knockings and clappings them, They have to make sure the contractor is pleased somewhat. So if the target is not seen, you take out the person who is closest to the target. Now he wanted to make a return to carry out the attack on the intended target the following day. Now it is stated that the intended target was a female who was involved with a criminal element who is presently behind bars. Now that criminal element would have spent some serious money on the female. And of course, the criminal element meet the female whilst behind bars, so him never forget no nookie, so to speak. So the woman, I take him money, I tell him where he want to hear, and I live her best life out the road with the next man. So him bex and use him connections as a reputed gang leader who is also known for doing these things, as he was also brought before the court to be sitting behind bars and using a cell phone to send out contract hits on witnesses against him and his criminal empire. He was found guilty of that whilst behind bars for other gun-related crimes. Now he's serving a lengthy prison sentence behind bars. Now who is this criminal element of which I just made mention? We are talking about this boy presently on your screen, identified as Derval Williams, but them call him Low-Key in the streets, said to be the reputed gang leader for the Westmoreland base Kings Valley gang. Yeah, man. Where he was convicted of conspiring with other criminal elements on the outside, whilst he was behind bars at the Horizon Adult Correctional Center in 2020, the same year that the anti-gang collapsed and he was basically set free, but not set free because he had other cases pending before the courts by our nation's highest court. So he plotted from behind bars with other criminal elements on the outside to take out witnesses against him. And those plots were made via cellular phone in prison. Now, according to the evidence led by the Crown, a mere month before Chief Justice shocked and gave a ruling in June 2020, to be specific, it is stated that correctional officers, during a search of cells occupied by the criminal element Derval Williams and another criminal element, Christian Grant, they discovered the cellular phones belonging to the two criminal elements in the cell. The phone claimed by Williams was discovered in a ventilation area at the back of the cell, whilst the handset claimed by Grant was found in the groove beneath a 5-gallon water bottle, held in place by bar soap. The men were charged under a 4-count indictment, with 1 count each of conspiring to take the life of people on the outside that are deemed to be witnesses against him, and concealment of a prohibited article, which is the 2 cellular phones. A digital forensic expert brought by the prosecution in April of that year, when the case began, outlined evidence to prove that the confiscated phones truly belong to the men. One of several voice notes played into the records of the tribunal, a voice identified by 2 Crown witnesses as belonging to Williams was heard saying that he had received intelligence that a particular top-flight female investigator had visited the targeted witnesses on 3 occasions, and that she was supposedly trying to shore up evidence against them after losing their first case. So this criminal element gave the instruction, and guess what happened, my peeps? The fatal knockings and clappings of the witness at the time was carried out. And this said criminal element is the same one behind the fatal knockings and clappings of Teresa Bailey. Now, luckily for the 2 intended target, the police sprung into action with their intelligence and took out the criminal element that took out Teresa Bailey, and was also hell-bent in carrying out his contract hit on the 2 persons that were the intended target. So my peeps, now you see why we cannot support criminal elements or criminality in no way, shape or form. Teresa Bailey end up lose 3 points, supposedly for something that she not even know about. And that, my peeps, really, really rough. So anyway, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Stay tuned to On The Spot News Media as I continue to bring you fresh news and updates in subsequent newscast. On The Spot News Media. Yeah, man.